Live here on Pro Football Today, Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. We now bring in NFL insider Adam Caplan. And Cap, I was able to talk to you earlier in the week when the story around Davante Adams had just broke. A lot has come out since then. We now sit here on a Sunday morning. What are you hearing around the Davante Adams situation?
Yeah, look, I fully expect him to be traded. Now, understand a couple things here. There are sort of layers to this potential deal. The trade deadline is not till November 5th. The Raiders want this, the way that I've gotten it from around the league, from teams talking to the Raiders, they'd like to get this resolved as soon as possible, meaning trade the player, get as much as they can. They want a second-round pick at least, and I'll explain to why it may not be easy because of his contract. See, part of it, Kevin, is if you look at his contract, he's making just under $1 million a week. I know that sounds crazy, but that's really what it is, $993,500. So that's part of it. And obviously, this plays into which week do you get him? Because that adds more money to it. And then will his contract require a restructure? Clearly, it's more of a one-year situation. Yes, he's got 2 years left past this, but the problem is how much money he's owed in future years, which is not acceptable. Well over $30 million next year. Those are what we call sort of dummy years. Yes, he's on the books for it. No team's taking that money. Those teams could just wait, but it's a question of what are they going to do with his contract for the season? That's got to get resolved. And then, as someone else told me, I don't think this is going to have any bearing on it, but I do want to mention it because someone from another team threw it at me. What if the Raiders somehow win today at Denver? They're 3-2. Clearly, if you look at the AFC wildcard picture, clearly in it. Do they still want to trade Adams? Yes. That's the word around the league. They still want to trade him. And lastly, I do want to add this because this is important for fantasy. Well, what happens when this deal is done, assuming it gets done as early as this week? Trey Tucker is that guy. Trey Tucker was, I think, a third rounder last year out of University of Cincinnati. Very explosive, one of the fastest young receivers in the NFL. Not the biggest guy, Kevin, under 5'9", but talking to members of the coaching staff this spring, they love him because he's explosive. You can move him around. But it would also make them more of a 12 personnel team because of Brock Bowers, that first round tight end.
Adam, if we take a look also at the Raiders, which, again, Davante Adams is the big news story. Let's just say they do move him within a week's time. Where does that leave the quarterback situation? Because Gardner Minshew wasn't brought in necessarily to be the franchise guy. Aiden O'Connell's the backup quarterback. Could this also signal, if they move on from Adams, that they'll be looking for a quarterback in the draft next year?
Well, that's for sure. I mean, they don't know who their future is, Donnie, past this season. Yes, when you talk about this quarterback, Gardner Minshew, he did sign a 2-year deal worth $12.5 million a year. But you don't like to, Donnie, from talking to general managers, you don't like going year to year. Minshew is a terrific backup. He's what you call a transitional quarterback to the younger quarterback. But remember, Tom Telesco, the general manager, he didn't draft O'Connell, but he did sign Gardner Minshew to that 2-year deal. So Minshew is sort of the placeholder quarterback for now. I would take a look at how that situation kind of plays out. But let me tell you something. They're not changing quarterbacks. If the Raiders win today at Denver, they're not changing quarterbacks. You don't change quarterbacks when you win. But O'Connell will get his playing time eventually this season. But they like that. They love Minshew's moxie. He clearly was that guy to start the season. He won the job. It wasn't by a landslide, but he clearly was the guy. And he's got a lot of work with these guys. And he does like throwing to the tight end, by the way. Brock Bowers is a guy going forward who should get a lot of work.
Cap, let's look at the Sunday night game. The Cowboys limped to Pittsburgh with multiple injuries. What are you hearing about the Cowboys and their injuries on the road today?
Yeah, look, boy, playing in Pittsburgh, I know there'll be some fans there from Dallas, no question, but it's certainly a great home field for the Steelers. But let's look at their defense first. So Micah Parsons has a high ankle sprain. He's week to week. He's not playing today. Their other edge rusher, DeMarcus Tank Lawrence, has got a midfoot sprain. It's a pretty bad one. They do expect him to come back late this season, but he's going to be out for a while. Marshawn Nealon, a second rounder of Western Michigan, will start today. They're going to have to mix and match at that other edge rusher spot. That's a problem. Offensively, Brandon Cooks is having that knee scope. He's out a minimum of 4 games. It could be more than that. Jalen Tolbert, I remember seeing him at the Senior Bowl 2 years ago out of South Alabama. He'll start. They have very little depth at receiver. They've got issues. If we ranked, who are the teams, if we had to rank 1 through 5, worst injury situation for their game this week, the Cowboys are my top 3, Joe. They got some real big issues. They're not going to get solved in one game.
Cap, we are at the point in time right now with the Davante Adams situation bubbling, we're watching a lot of other receiver names then get thrown out. Maybe some of that is doing with the fact that we know Kansas City could use some help, but they don't seem to be an option when it comes to Davante Adams in this race. Are there other names that you're hearing that could potentially be moved as we get closer to the deadline?
Yes. So DeAndre Hopkins is a name. Now, it's one thing if the Titans were 3-1. That's a different story. But D-Hop is on the final year of his deal. He's got a pretty big salary. See, that's part of it, as I was talking about with Adams. Are you willing to take his salary? Or are you gonna ask the team that has him, the Titans, or in the case of the Raiders, some teams want the Raiders to pick up some of Adams' salary. So that's something to look at. Now, the Titans, I could tell you from being around them for 2 days and knowing that team pretty well, they've got Treylon Burks, who's a former first-rounder, but he wasn't drafted by this staff, by this front office, or was not around with his coaching staff. So when he was drafted, but he would be the guy who would replace him. But they're not very deep at receiver. But Hopkins is a name to take a look at as we get closer. And typically, by the way that teams look at it in terms of determining if a receiver is free or not, you like to get guys on the last year of your deal, so that way you don't owe money for future years, and you don't want to give up a lot of draft picks for a guy who's not going to be in your roster. It's kind of like in baseball when teams make those trades, get pitching. It's a trade deadline. You give up, depending how much, on how many years the guy's got left on his contract. So take a look at that. And we'll have more names for you going forward. But here's one thing I do want to add. Talking to general managers over the years, one of the big reasons why they wanted the trade deadline pushed back a couple weeks, now it's much later. It's actually in early November, because teams kind of hang around longer, guys. Look at how many teams are in the wild card chase in most conferences. You can't have it after weeks 7 or 8. You got to have it after weeks 9, 10, or 11.
Adam, speaking of wide receivers here, we got a pretty big game out there for the Green Bay Packers looking then to bounce back effort. But they're down a couple wide receivers, one in Christian Watson due to injury, one in Romeo Doubs because he just is unhappy with his role. What's going on in Green Bay?
Yeah, boy, that one. And talking to the Packers, he's a pretty high character guy. I just know that he's frustrated with his role. I think my friend Bill Huber put that out from the Packer report about not going to practice because he's frustrated with his role, because they are loaded, by the way. They are a legit, Donnie, 6 deep at the wide receiver position. Watch my guy, Dontavian Wicks. Got off to a slow start, but Christian Watson is out. Could be out multiple weeks. We mentioned the Dobbs situation, number 87. Watch Dontavian Wicks today for the Packers. He's the guy that is going to be recipient of more playing time. There's no question about it. It's been a good story development so far.
Cap, I want to talk about the situation in Jacksonville. 0-4, their favorite today against the Colts. If they lose today and drop to 0-5, any type of situation, potentially what we saw with Frank Reich in Carolina, where they let go of Peterson early?
Here's the thing, though. When Shad Khan, Joe, a couple years ago with Urban Meyer, that had to get done. That he was kind of forced to do it because of all the information that was available on the Urban Meyer experience and situation. Shad Khan's typically, I'm told, from people who work for him, pretty patient. But if they go 0-5, not that Doug Peterson's not on the hot seat. Of course he is if you're watching football. I mean, you know that he's on the hot seat. The question becomes a week-to-week situation. The thing about Doug, which has kind of surprised me, Joe, that you bring him up, he's kind of not taking a lot of responsibility publicly. I usually don't talk about coaches' press conferences. They mostly mean nothing. But you notice a lot of blame deflection, particularly for his offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, who he brought over from Philly with him. So that situation has been unfortunate, where he came on that white horse 2 years ago after the Urban Meyer experience blew up, and they made the playoffs. They shocked the world. The drop-off, they choked, losing 5 out of 6. They've been horrendous this season.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare, no doubt about it. And no matter how bad, you know that Doug Peterson will be out the door before Trevor Lawrence, who they recently just paid. Cap, we appreciate it, as always. Best of luck. Follow it, everything going on around the National Football League this week.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, great stuff there, NFL insider Adam Caplan. Just quickly, the New York Jets with a short field, or with a up against the end zone, provided the Vikings with a short field there. Chance to make that a 2-score game. We'll talk to Doc next.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi. And we are now joined by the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, where he and the entire team over at SixScore.com have helped us throughout this season, providing the injury analysis and information that we've needed. And along the way, Doc, as well, a couple of winning sides. Red hot last week, and anybody that gets over to Sick Picks and the new subscribers there can get a little 5-star guarantee play today?
Absolutely. It hit last week, got another one going this week, and there's some themes there, in terms of this week has been one of the bigger injury mismatch weeks. We've got a lot of different good plays this week, some of them that kind of go against what you might think, just looking at the injuries, the unseen injuries and cluster injuries. Offensive line, defensive line, a couple of linebacker cores all injured. And yes, a guaranteed 5-star pick again this week, thanks to the team here. And thanks to help from Norv Turner, who helps us do some of these algorithms.
Wow.
All right, let's get into some of these games then, Doc, starting with Chicago and Carolina. Certainly for me, I see the field views here. I see the team grades. There's a big disparity from Chicago's 92.7 and Carolina's 74.7. What are you seeing in this game?
Well, look, by health, Chicago's very healthy, and their defense is very healthy, whereas Carolina's defense is not healthy. They haven't been able to stop the ball up front on the D-line. They've got Shai Tuttle now out, Derek Brown already out, and they're losing 3 out of 4 linebackers with Shaq Thompson now out for the seasons. And you see the field view there and where it is. Look at the box there in the front 7, not to mention on the back end some DB issues for Carolina. So really, Bears are healthy and Carolina Panthers are not. And so there's a couple of different plays there, including totals as well as sides there based on the mismatch.
And curious for you, Doc, when you're trying to get a read here on this Carolina team with the amount of injuries, is it a situation where you expect to grade their defense unfavorably for the remainder of this season?
Well, yes and no. There's no question, and you're bringing up a great point of what we call delta, 1 week to the next change. For example, the Rams have been one of the more injured teams this whole season, but they've kind of stabilized their offensive line a little bit, and their grade will kind of creep up. It's creeping up, and, of course, their wide receivers are not back yet. So it's not static the whole season, and we do factor.
Little hiccup there. All right, little bump in the road there.
Information was hot. Is he back?
I think he's back. Is he back?
I think
Doc,
is
you back? Oh, he's
there we
back.
go.
Question, we go by deltas. So we don't make anything static red throughout the rest of the year. Injuries can improve, and also on how the backups play. Like the Rams were very low early season, and now they're starting to rise up a little bit. So a team isn't always necessarily low.
Doc, let's get out to California there with the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Rams. I'm checking the site right now. The Los Angeles Rams, we got issues on the offensive line, tight end, and wide receiver on offense for those Rams.
Well, the offensive line with the tackles have gotten a little bit better. The wide receivers, not yet. The tight end, not yet. But the biggest health change there in that game is Jordan Love, when he came back last week for the Packers, he was far from 100%. A lot closer to it this week with the lead leg brace, etc. Obviously, Packers have their wide receiver issues with the suspension for Dobbs and Christian Watson with the high ankle. But Jordan Love will be healthier this week.
Doc, taking a look at those wide receivers coming back for the Rams. I see Cooper Kupp maybe after the bye week. Is that realistic for him coming back off that high ankle sprain?
Yeah, I think it is. And we've always said Cooper Kupp's back before Puka Nacua, even though Puka injured his PCL much earlier. So, yeah, I think it is realistic. And that's one of the situations where the Rams have really been down. They're starting to creep up.
Doc, let's look at the matchup in Duval County, Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Looks like a significant advantage for Jacksonville, 84.4 versus Indianapolis, 75.9. What are you seeing injury-wise in regards to that matchup?
Well, from the war room last week here, we said Jonathan Taylor would not play with his high ankle, and he can avoid injured reserve, but he may not play next week either. He's out this week for sure. And from the war room, we said last week, Anthony Richardson with a hip pointer would be unlikely to play, and he's basically been ruled out, so it's Flacco. But the injuries there, the bigger injury on offense might be Ryan Kelly, their center. And defensively, DeForest Buckner, other guys, defensive players at corner as well as along the defensive line for the Colts. It's definitely Jacksonville that's the healthier side, and boy, they really need a win, right? They're 0-for right now.
Yeah, in regards to Anthony Richardson, because he's been injured now in back-to-back years, is there a concern, obviously, and I understand it's different injuries, but the way he plays in regards to the RPO game, I mean, has the medical staff or will they take any type of precaution moving forward in regards to, at least preparing his body maybe in a different way?
Well, look, it's the collision sport of football, right? And he runs a lot, and he's a great player, but he puts himself at risk. This is why at Six Score, Sports Injury Central, for fantasy purposes and futures purposes, we were down on Anthony Richardson. The way that he takes risks and takes hits, we didn't think he'd make it through a season without missing some time. Now, we're not wishing ill will on him. Hopefully he can come back very quickly. But he's not injury prone. It's just his style of play makes him prone to injury.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting situation for Indianapolis with Joe Flacco stepping up and in for a really big game in division. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. And again, everybody make sure you head over to SixScore.com. All of the injury information and analysis. And again, Doc, some 5-star guaranteed picks.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll come through again. We've been pretty hot. Heck, this morning game's been pretty good to us, too.
All right. Some sneaky juice in Minnesota, New York. We love to hear it there, Doc. Excellent as always. And the update, by the way, for people, that game 20-10 right now, Minnesota football. Man, oh, man. Does this look like every single Jets game for the last 2 years where their defense is
Just
wasting their time watching the offense do nothing? Sell me something. It's next.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back right here. We're going to do some something in just a second. Sam Darnold got picked off, all right?
Boy.
First of all, that MVP candidacy crashing down, which is something. Now, Donnie, you just had a little bit of a beef potentially with the Jets celebration there, spiking it down 10.
Yes.
No. My take is the Jets defense is allowed to completely ignore the score. No. Everything they do is incredible, and it's not their fault that this offense is useless again.
Hear me out about this touchdown celebration. They intercept that ball, they run over and fire it at Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm telling you.
That would be.
Tension's got to be high.
It's got to be high. But here's the thing. We just talked. Not to go off the beaten path, Minnesota gets the ball with 10 minutes left. They haven't completed a pass in basically 2 quarters.
You just can't keep the clock going, Joe, and don't turn it over.
Cut it down to 6 minutes and kick the football back and force them to go 70 yards. They're down 2 scores. Now you put them right back into the game. It's crazy.
It is, but again, the Darnold stuff has come crashing down immediately as number 1 wide receiver Alan Lazard gets going. It's tell me something time.
Oh, boy.
This feels like it's going to be an interesting one here. Lisi, you want to bat lead off?
Yeah, sure. Come into my used car lot. I got a real clunker for you. Now, I typically go like with a normal play. Last week it was Trevor Lawrence, right? But now knowing how Donnie reacted to my potential upset in Seattle today, right? Seattle 6.5-point favorite over the gutless New York Giants, right? Even though they got the cover against Dallas. No Malik Neighbors, right? He's out of that lineup. Daniel Jones, 281 last week. There's no way Danny Dimes is going to throw for 250-plus on the road. We just saw Jared Goff abuse that secondary for 18 of 18. I'm not suggesting Daniel Jones is anywhere near Jared Goff, but for 250-plus, it's plus 520.
Wow. How about 550? How about we give you 550 instead?
Are you kidding me? Look at that.
For sale. I like this. Now, see, I think you're back into the spirit of look,
that's it.
I needed that. He's back in the spirit right now.
There's no way.
No.
You got him throwing him for 250 back-to-back weeks.
Without his top wide out.
Yeah.
I love it.
You like
it with the 12s. Something.
With the 12s.
What happened here?
Nothing.
I understand it's a sound, but you like it today. You'd think, just to be clear, I just want to make sure I have this right.
Good.
Going today on the road without Neighbors in Seattle.
Nobody expects
Open it up, air it out.
Right.
Tempo.
Not only that, maybe Seattle. Big day? Well, what happens? All I know is 2 years ago, right? Seattle jumped up 14-0 on that team, completely taken out of their game plan. Giants lost, didn't cover as a 3-point dog, right? Maybe they fall behind today. Look for a big day out of Wandale.
Can I say this, though? And I appreciate the alt.
Yeah.
But you robbed me of him putting in the straight that he usually does so I could get eyes on Daniel Jones's regular number, which is 181.5 in this game. Like the books, he threw for 281 last week, and they're like, yeah, all right, 100 less this week.
Yep.
No questions asked. Usually we'd go to you, Donnie, but my tell me something's in this game as well.
Oh. Ooh.
Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Never heard of him.
50-plus receiving yards, 11-1. The replacement back for the Giants here.
Wow.
Dump down city.
Wow.
Lisi, isn't this called the short
Receiving
to
yards.
intermediate game? Here's the deal. Between him and Singletary, they average about 4 targets a week. He's averaging around 10 catches or 10 yards per reception. But when you really eye this up with Malik Neighbors out there who takes in every single target, and if this team's trailing, why can't Tyrone Tracy catch 7-8 balls in the dump down game? 11-1.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. 257 he'll throw for, and your guy has 50-plus.
There we go.
There you go. Let's see.
This is really a
Donnie,
sell me something that's
Donnie's
called the
clicking.
pain segment
Donnie's
right
going to
now.
click Seattle.
I got sold on something. I didn't even know that guy was in the NFL, that we're taking him here on a Sunday morning show. You got to love it at this point. So I think it's great. All right, you ready for the real deal here? There's no person I hated more last year than Odell Beckham Jr. This guy stole money from Baltimore, and in the playoff game was just dapping it up for guys, did nothing in that game, was just happy to be out there like, oh, what a surprise here. Then he goes to the Miami Dolphins. He signed early in the offseason. Like, okay, look at this. Third wide receiver. Dude doesn't even show up until October to play football for them, which is the reason why. Look at that 8.5, people. Look at that, over 8.5 receiving yards today. He's got a horrendous quarterback.
Look what he's wearing.
He's got 2 quarterbacks. So much. Exactly. That's what that right there.
They don't even have him like in uniform or nothing.
Because nobody's ever seen him in uniform. We have never seen this guy play football for the Miami Dolphins. Today, 1 catch, 10 yards, cashed the ticket, sold.
Wow.
Sold.
I'll just say he catches 1 ball for like 5 yards. That would be one of the more heartbreaking scenes I have seen. We got it for 25-plus, Lisi?
They got more upset if the Jets scored. We
Whip
missed
around.
out, and we missed.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was clicking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Cheney Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's make it happen with you here. Whip around time on SportsGrid. But first, and we got to go fast, but we got some time. Jets touchdown, Garrett Wilson. All of a sudden, is Rodgers dealing?
Dealing.
Also, Rodgers MVP. I don't know what's happening here, Lisi. 2017 ball game.
Willis Reed moment. He came off the field 5 times already, looking like he was going to be in the locker room every time the Jets got the ball back. He put his helmet back on and led them. Now, we'll see. Defense is playing lights out. Minnesota hasn't completed a pass since the second quarter, I feel like.
I think we get OT.
So,
I think we get OT. Minnesota
hasn't
shown me anything for 3 quarters of what they can do on offense.
Is the best player on that team? I mean, what is going on here?
They've completely been shut down. It was basically, we're going to run routes to make sure that we get pass interference calls on Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Outside of that, nobody's alive.
Yeah, it's really, really bad right now when you take a look at what the offense has done so far in this game. We will keep tabs on it for you throughout, but we got to get to the whip around here for the people, and that means that we get right to Bears-Panthers. How about a climbing number? 3.5's gone, 4.5's appearing. I am on Chicago in this game. I feel that Carolina has been given too much respect in this spot. I think they're in a good spot, interestingly enough, Carolina. I could not pass on the minus 3.5 number that was out there. At -4, I would certainly still be looking Chicago. At 4.5, maybe it's time to pull back a little bit here. But the Panthers have allowed every opposing team to throw for 2+ passing touchdowns. I think Caleb Williams could be in for his best day as a pro. I like Chicago.
It's possible. I'm going to go the other way. Don't really love this game, but I would take the Panthers on the road plus the 4.5. I lean to the under from 41.5 down to 40.5. If we're looking in regards to the rushing attack, I know DeAndre Swift broke out, but Roshan Johnson, a low number today, 27.5. I think he blows through that. And Xavier Legette, 44.5. I think could be an option with Andy Dalton.
Everything should work for me from a Chicago Bears perspective. 211.5 is Caleb Williams' number. He should go over that. Throw 2 touchdowns today, guys. It's plus 144. If there's a day you're supposed to move the football against the defense, it's today for the Chicago Bears. And I agree. The 3.5s to 4.5s, it should be that high. Chicago should win this game. And when you say comfortably, buy a touchdown here. I think they get it done. I think Caleb finally shows up today and says, you know what? I'm the best rookie out here, not Jaden Daniels.
I will say, and if the Bears win this game, right, and if the Browns pull off that miniature upset, it's going to shift this market with Malik Neighbors inactive. There's a lot of vulnerability out there in that offensive rookie of the year market. It's a great point by Donnie. Dolphins steaming 2.5 now, 36.5 total. Man, it's incredible. When we were watching that disaster on Monday night, I was like, is New England going to get up to a 3-point favorite here? Now Miami's nearly pushing towards -3. I lean Dolphins. I told you I lean over, but I'm not now going to start laying near a field goal on the road when we're watching Tyler Huntley take the field here, Joe.
Yeah, totally agree. I would lean to New England now that their dogs are almost a field goal. Again, I have no confidence in Mike McDaniel. Again, another game I'm not betting from the side perspective, but I took a shot. I think this game potentially could go contrarian, 35.5. I did take the total. Took Huntley and Brissett 150 plus, and I took all the receivers over their numbers. Hill, Waddle, Hunter Henry, Douglas, you name it, I'm in it on parlays and everything else.
Yeah, I got to be on the under in this one. And again, maybe it's just coming from that bias of both offenses stink and who's actually going to show up today, and I don't just see a lot of fireworks. You should be actually getting some fireworks from the Miami Dolphins set because they have 2 of some of the best wide receivers. You just got to get them the football, but that's always the issue is getting them the football. I don't think they can. Give me the points. Put it this way. If the Dolphins are getting 2.5, I'm going to take the Dolphins. New England's getting 2.5, I'm taking New England. It's just the way. I don't think either one of these teams should be favored.
I am on a Devon Achane touchdown, though, at plus 160. I think that's a great number. Again, this team is going to move the ball a little bit. He had multiple goal line carries.
Just a quick question on this one. Ramondre Stevenson, benched to start this game. Is that a benching because we want to show you that you're just not starting and we're going to play you the rest of the way, or are we just down for, midway through?
What is the story with that?
He's been fumbling, so they're not going to start him. They told him, keep it up. You're not going to have a spot on this team. But they seem to figure it's more of a embarrassment
ceremonial
not to start, and then you're going to be getting your 15-plus carries anyway.
Well, Donnie, that has a 43.5 number on Stevenson, 44.5 on Gibson.
See that?
So would you buy low Stevenson?
No, I'm buying low on Stevenson. Now, granted, if Gibson comes out of the game first, drive, 5 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown, well, maybe that's going to shift the tide. But if he doesn't come out and dominate, then because let me
say this. Look, I played Miami to win the conference preseason, right? And with the Tua injury, that was done. But even if Tua came back, let's just pretend. I know he came back tonight in this game. The defense is now torn to shreds. Jalen Phillips out for the season again. there's vulnerability on the Miami defensive side.
There is, and think about how Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard ripped that defense on the ground. That was a weak link at the start of the season against Jacksonville in the first couple of games, too. So I agree with you. Could be a cause of concern. It might be a good look to look at, Gibson in regards to Stevenson as well. They might rip through those numbers.
All right, let's get to an awesome game here. Houston, Buffalo, the Bills right now, a 1.5-point dog. Total in this game, 47.5. This is a side that I am getting involved with on a money line, minus 118. Give me the Houston Texans to win this football game here. Buffalo is on the road. Buffalo is banged up. I know we have linebackers coming back. Yeah, in exchange for other linebackers leaving. Taylor Rapp's out of this game. Khalil Shakir, most notably, is out of this game. This is still a Buffalo team that does not have a ton of weapons. It can mess up their efficiency here. I really do think that the Texans win this game.
It's possible. I like the other side, but I love the over in this matchup. I'm not going to overthink this. I think Josh Allen breaks out 180 yards last week. Very out of the game plan because of how Derrick Henry took that game over. On the road here against C.J. Stroud, I think it's a shootout. I think Kincaid's alive for Buffalo. And in regards to Houston, I think Stroud will lead as well.
I got to tell you, in this game, I do think Houston's going to win. I would lay that 1.5. But also, sometimes you try to take a look and say, can Buffalo win this game? Sure. But you know what I'd rather bet? Josh Allen anytime touchdown. Josh Allen over his passing yards. Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdowns. And they can still lose that football game. That's the way I play that one out.
Also, Josh Allen in this game's passing yards is going to be the best bet today. We'll get into that a little bit more. 230.5. Jags Colts 3.5-point line now. Total in this one is 44.5. I like Jacksonville when this was 2.5. The fact that it's 3.5 keeps it off my card, but I would still look Jaguars in this game. I think you described it right, Donnie. Kitchen sink performance here from the Jaguars.
Yeah, no, and also, if we're looking at this game for me, running backs, Travis Etienne. If your quarterback is struggling, what's his best friend? Hand the football off, make explosive plays, get the lead so it doesn't have to feel the pressure, and also, this is a big game for Doug Peterson because I know how the NFL works. 0-5 on a team where the questions already come up had you lost the locker room. And as Kevin pointed out earlier, you're not moving on from the quarterback in that contract. You're moving on from the coach. It's just a matter of time when it happens. They should be able to stave it off, Joe, one more day.
I disagree, and I'm starting to like Indianapolis more and more. The fact that it's over the key number at 3, you want to give me 3.5. Again, their season's still alive, and I have no confidence in Trevor Lawrence and that team as a whole. 0-4. I know that typically they play better, but again, playing with house money here, nobody's expecting Indianapolis to win for some reason, and I understand why they're banged up. But still, you have Flacco. He beat them last year with the Browns, tore them up for over 300 yards. I'll take the points. I lean to the under, though. I don't know why this number's so high in regards to the total.
All right, let's keep it moving here now with this Cincinnati and Baltimore game. It is a big one, and it's one I believe Cincinnati gets. I took them plus the 2.5. I do believe they win this game. I've said this, though, even when Dallas played Baltimore, I know it didn't work my way, but I know people say, why don't you just take the money line? Harbaugh's a go-for-2 guy.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to it and all of a sudden he goes for 2, I don't have to sit there stressed about it. It means I've automatically won plus 2.5 here, but I do think the Bengals win this game. That offense is completely in rhythm. Baltimore's been able to jump out to these incredibly hot starts and bury their opponents there. I think with the way Cincinnati is offensively, they can match them score for score to start this game here and give themselves a real chance at pulling right back into the divisional race.
I will take the money line. I like Cincinnati plus the points, and I'll take them on the money line. I think the game trends to the over. I think Burrow breaks out 259.5 over. Chase getting more involved in the offense. And again, look for Gesicki, a cheap number in terms of 24.5. This is it. Cincinnati loses this game, dead and buried as far as I'm concerned.
Cincinnati doesn't win this game unless Joe Burrow is, as he said, I need to be perfect, which means 250 plus, 2+ touchdown passes to hang in this game. I'm still going to go with Baltimore. I think they found the method to their madness, and against that defense, they should be able to go up and down the field for me. Give me Baltimore.
Minnesota kicks a field goal, 6-point game. It's touchdown or bust for the New York Jets. They do have multiple timeouts with 3:07 remaining, but this team needs to go find 6 and then make an extra point and snag one from the Minnesota Vikings. We're with you here on SportsGrid.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
I do a sliding DiVincenzo to the one. Obviously, Terrence Shannon Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back to right here on SportsGrid. Jets are moving, so are we. We go to Browns Commanders here. Field goal number for the favorite in Washington at home, Lisi. Total in this one is 43.5. I love Amari Cooper in this football game. Number one wide receivers, which he still is for the Browns, have destroyed Washington this season. Just take a look this year. Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. Those are the number one wideouts they've seen. And yes, it is a great group. A lot of LSU there. But please, 26 grabs, 351 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I'm on Cooper over 55.5 yards and anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I don't mind the look, but I'm not going to overthink this either. I'm going to go with the more consistent team, and that's Jaden Daniels in Washington. Actually like what Dan Quinn is building there, and 26 of 30 for 233. And Terry McLaurin now, part of that offense. Could be a huge day for McLaurin, but keep an eye out for Brian Robinson as well. It's the Commanders and under, because I'm not sold on Cleveland on the road.
Back to the basics for the Browns for me. I want them to run the football, which includes my guy Jerome Ford over 42.5 rushing yards. I think they can stick to the ground game and help out Deshaun Watson here. That 3, I think, is so on point right now, but I am going to also go with the public and say, look, Washington's look good. They should be able to win this football game at home in their own building. Devastating loss for the Browns. How do they recover? Washington wins this one. Don't know if I want to bet it. I'm just going to stick with a running back prop here from Cleveland side.
All right, let's get into Cardinals-Niners here. 7.5 point line, NFC West battle. This one has been bouncing around. If you look for Arizona, they get Trey McBride back. That is great. If you look for the Niners, though, they'll match at the tight end. Here's George Kittle. And guess what? Fred Warner, he's playing as well. The San Francisco 49ers are looking to get rolling here. Lisi, what do you expect?
I think they roll. 7.5. I would lay it here in regards to this matchup. Brock Purdy, 288 last week. Jawan Jennings still a part of that offense. Mason, $125 on the ground. Arizona gave up 201 rushing yards to Washington. And Brian Robinson, I think they throw it, they run it, you name the score. I think it's over as well. And keep in mind a little side fact. Bagel guy likes the Arizona Cardinals. So just keep it
likes to fire away. If I'm looking at this game, I do think San Francisco 49ers win. It's interesting at that 7.5 because you can get through the back door, but that's not the appropriate way to bet this game. You have a top 3 offense in the NFL, if not one of the best in the San Francisco 49ers, going up against a really weak defense. They, talking about the 49ers, should be able to name their number. I'm expecting high 20s, low 30s. Good luck on Arizona catching up with them.
All right, now let's get into Lisi's Super Bowl, shall we here, Lisi?
What a terrible game.
Well, Raiders-Broncos. I mean, we talk a team that has had 2 impressive wins. That's the Denver Broncos as a 2.5 point home favorite. And then a Vegas Raiders team who was lucky to have any wins, quite frankly, on their resume so far this season. 2-2 here, Lisi. Someone's going to 3-2.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew will do that. He'll lead the victory on the road. They have dominated in regards to Denver in recent years. I don't think it stops now. I know Bo Nix got back-to-back victories. Look for Brock Bowers to break out. 1 reception, 12 yards last week. He's got a 45.5 total today. I think he blows through that. And I'll go with the Raiders and the rushing attack as well. Lower scoring game, but I think the Raiders win it.
I think it is going to be a lower scoring game. I'll go in the under 36.5. The MOs for the Denver Broncos playing great defense. You're a little bit banged up for the Raiders. I don't think there's really a need to push it for the Denver Broncos, but I actually can see them winning this football game by a touchdown or more, but a lower scoring one, right? 17-10, somewhere in that range. I'm going to go ahead and take the home team with the Denver Broncos, but also I'll sit with that under 36.5 as well.
Again, for me, can only look towards Denver here. I know you'd love to sell them coming off of the victories that they've had, but the Raiders are coming off of a fluky win against the Browns there, so I would be looking Broncos. Packers-Rams, fun one here in the NFC. Green Bay needs it. They have not won a football game so far this season where Jordan Love has been their starting quarterback. A lot of noise around Green Bay this week. I think it's a spot where LaFleur really needs to step up. I think Love needs to step up and have his team ready and focused here because the Rams are frisky.
No, they are, and that's why I lean to L.A. here, coming off the loss, plus the 3.5. I'll take the home dog in regards to this matchup. But you talk about Jordan Love, a little rusty, coming off, multiple weeks of not in that lineup. Got it going in the fourth quarter, 389, multiple touchdowns. I think that continues. Stafford's fine weapons, right? He still produced last week. Parkinson, Tutu Atwell. When you have two quarterbacks like this, give me the over, Donnie. I really like the over in this game.
Yeah, I think the over makes sense as well. 49.5. I think we get to 50. Two of my favorite play callers in the NFL. But if I'm being honest, the best bet for me probably would just be taking the Green Bay Packers at the -3. I think Jordan Love's going to be able to slice and dice that defense. Not worried about any weather conditions out there. Fast track. Give me Green Bay. I needed to see it last week out of Love. He got it together in the second half. He should continue in this game.
Yeah, Jordan Love, again, has been a monster. 2+ passing touchdowns consistently. Look for Tucker Kraft in this game. I'm on him over at 36.5 as math needs to be calculated here live on. No, he's not at 24, is he? Is he
23.
at 24? Oh. 2 more, Breesy, baby.
Get in the weight room, Brees.
Two more.
Right,
no,
right.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Right.
Seahawks-Giants, 7-point line.
Yeah.
I need to close my ears, Lisa.
Yeah,
because you know why? I just tell you this. You're selling me something.
I
and
am
I don't
selling
want
you.
that.
I'm taking the snake oil, and I'm taking Brian Dable on the road. I'll take them plus the 7. I think they potentially could win. I don't think Seattle's an elite team. I think Geno and McDonald come back to life a little bit. I think that defense could be torched. And I look for Daniel Jones to exceed expectations. 181 without Neighbors. Give me Wan'Dale Robinson. Give me your guy. What is it, Tracy? Give me all of the receivers for the Giants. Giants find a way to cover the number.
Give me none of the Giants. Give me all of Seattle in an absolute smash double-digit win, which includes DK Metcalf finding that end zone, which will tease that for the upcoming segment. I just don't see any way the Giants are going to put together an offense in this game. 13 points maximum, no way. Seattle, after their loss last week, continues to roll on offense, and they cruise to a victory.
The reality is, I need what Donnie's saying to be true. Yet I keep now feeling I'm getting tempted by the Giants, but I refuse. I will not bet. I will not bet them. Trail by a lot. Dump down. Tyrone Tracy, 50-plus receiving yards, 11-1.
Juicy.
Wow. For the people. Hey, why not? When in Rome, do we do a little Sunday night football before we get over to the best bet segment?
Or don't we do it in the...
We usually wait. We
might have to skip the final segment to watch this finish here.
Yeah, now,
by the way, what's this, a 4-hour game?
Now, Donnie, here's a question, because we usually have to change positioning here. We're going to have to move some things around so you can keep the eyeballs.
I don't actually want to watch.
I mean, this game's already over,
look,
by
you're
the way.
in 4-down territory, 3rd and 10. Look, you make it easier on 4th down, you run the football. It's a complete surprise.
No one would see it coming.
Nobody would see it coming.
Man, they did that last night in Tennessee, Arkansas. It was a botched snap.
Yeah.
Samson goes, Chris Fowler, they're trying to catch him off guard. That's not what happened, brother. That's not what happened. We'll close it out with you here on SportsGrid. Best bets are next.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
If you're sliding DiVincenzo to the one, obviously Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here, Pro Football Today. Nobody does it quite like this crew, man. Kevin Walsh, Lisi, and Donnie Rightside. Rodgers with his third pick of the game. All his fault. I don't want to hear nothing. He was starting to sell me something during the drive that it wasn't his fault. Garrett Wilson, wide open, walk-in touchdown on a double move. Donnie, I'll go to the wide receiver room with you. You hit a double move like that, you don't score, you got to be hot.
I run that double move with the incomplete pass. I just run right to the locker room and just start taking a shower because my quarterback is absolutely washed at that point. How did he miss that? Game tying touchdown, extra point to win it, blew it.
Absolute nightmare for the New York Jets. Lisi, I know you'd love to get off on this team, but we got to get moving to Sunday. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I can't wait for the pressure. You know,
I always say that. What are you sitting down watching the press?
Yeah, watch the press. It's never about Big Bad Aaron.
You
Big Bad Aaron and Robert Salah.
All right, let's get to that Sunday night football. Dallas is in Pittsburgh, catching 3 now. Those 2.5s are starting to really be swept up here. Justin Fields looking for what would probably be the biggest win of his career.
It would, and the fact that he threw for 355 yards on the ground, I like Pittsburgh in the game, Kev, and the injuries I think will lead us to points in regards to this matchup. Yeah. So give me the Steelers, but Donnie, I'm over the 43.5. I think we can get into the high 40s.
You know, that Steelers defense should be able to slow down the Dallas Cowboys. You know, Ferguson should have a decent day at tight end. You've got CeeDee Lamb, but you don't have anything else for the Dallas Cowboys. It's Dak, 2 players. Good luck on doing that because I don't expect any running game from the Dallas Cowboys to function tonight, which flips it over to Justin Fields. You want to keep your job, Joe? What's the best way to do it? Win the football game. He's going to do that.
CeeDee Lamb over 77.5 receiving yards. If you look last year, one game against the very difficult Jets secondary, he played without Brandon Cooks. 11 grabs, 140 receiving yards on 13 targets. Double-digit targets means good things are coming for CeeDee Lamb in Pittsburgh. It is best bet time. And the good news for the people out there is I'm not putting a side in as my best bet.
Right.
Because
Giants?
No, would be. It doesn't matter who it would be. It's going to win since it's not. We'll leave it at that. Why not? I'll bet. You know, I don't want to go out of order. Should I?
Go.
Yeah.
All right.
Take it up.
Josh Allen over 230.5 passing yards. Bounce back spot. Legendary bounce back spot. We used this to our advantage when he was in against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night. He went over this number in the first half. Over the last 4 years, Josh Allen is 14-0 over a prop of 230.5 when the game prior he threw for less than 200 yards. The Texans secondary's been good. I don't care. This is about one man in one spot. If he throws for under 200, I'm betting him over his prop the next game. Already did it once this year, and I'm doing it again.
I love the look, and I wasn't going to overthink the total today. I could have given you New England and Miami, the 35.5, 36, but we're going over Houston and Buffalo, 47.5. I didn't alter yet, but I think we can get into the 50s. I think C.J. Stroud will lead. I also think Josh Allen bounces back. What a huge performance. And then I think DeMeco Ryans will have this team hyped and ready for this game, Kev. But we'll see how it plays out. Give me points.
I think it makes some sense. You're in the nice little dome atmosphere. Should be good conditions there on a fast track. But how about this one? I'm looking at a hot track. Maybe the hottest in the NFL today. 95 degrees out there. And where are we at? Palo Alto? Where is this?
I'll make a phone call to the
San Jose, Levi Stadium out here. It's going to be hot. You know, it's going to be the hottest in this game. It's going to be Brock Purdy. Over 1.5 touchdown passes at a -140 price. This team is going to score 4 times. You just can't get 3 of those out of my guy Mason in the backfield. Hey, Mason, you want to score 3 touchdowns? How about 1 out of the backfield on the screen pass here? 2 touchdowns for Brock Purdy. Cashes this ticket. They'll drop 30-plus in this game.
MVP Purdy. Interesting. A lot of
I like
buzz.
him to go off today. Don't like him to be the MVP, though.
All right. Look, Donnie goes, I can see him throw for about 404.
Exactly.
Wouldn't touch him anywhere in that market. Our favorite anytime touchdown scores, if you've actually been paying attention, arguably these are our best bets. These have been piping hot this season, and it's wide receiver city. Donnie, I'm following your lead. Give me Deebo Samuel, -105. Number 1 wide receivers eating against Arizona, and that is exactly what Deebo still is for the Niners. He's into the end zone here today.
He gets it on a pop pass. Love it. Counts as a touchdown pass. Counts as a touchdown for Kevin, who cashed that in. I'm going to go up north. These guys love the Giants. You know who the Giants don't love? DK Metcalf. He's scoring. By the way, I'm calling it 50-plus yard touchdown.
Whoa!
Out of DK Metcalf, plus 145.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hot
50
soup.
plus.
Okay, I'm going Terry McLaurin. Back-to-back weeks. Why? Washington Commanders are hot. Best quarterback in potential, the
Feels like
NFL,
that's a
Jaden
thank you
Daniels.
pick. I like it. Feels like that's a thank you pick for McLaurin today, is it?
For all the good he's done for you.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow, we almost
knees
left
in
the show
bounds.
without a Commander's pick on it.
I like the Commanders today.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes.
Lisi,
No way.
A lot of
Terry
kryptonite
McLaurin
on
today.
the
Terry
Browns.
McLaurin today, knee in the back of the end zone. Kevin says it's out.
And it's D'Amico Ryans. I knew that, but there's an inside joke.
You gave away the soup, Lisi. We'll see you Monday night. Good luck.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.